YouTube's made a recent update on their algorithm. And if you're thinking about either starting or growing your YouTube channel, there's actually never been a better time to do that. I've spent the last 7 years helping over 100 clients use YouTube as a way to make money. And no, not as a creator, but as a way to sell things through YouTube. And I can tell you that I've never seen anything like this before, but I don't think it'll be like this forever. So they say that luck is basically when preparation meets opportunity. And for those who start or grow their YouTube channel during this time, they'll realize that they were just ready at the right place at the right time, where everyone else will say they're just lucky. So today, I'm going to show you what this big update is, how small channels can generate 6 to 7 figures by taking advantage of this algorithm change, and how to get started today. So here's what's happening. YouTube is basically now favoring small channels, and they've changed the way it promotes content, and small business channels are benefiting more than ever. The platform is actively prioritizing smaller channels, and it's actually a really smart move by YouTube. Now, if you look at your own homepage and recommendations, do you notice that instead of getting all the big channels, you're now seeing a mix of smaller channels in there too? And it's not just me, people are talking about it everywhere. And I think a big part of the reason for this is because YouTube recognizes that to continue to grow and keep people on the platform, it can't keep rewarding the same big channels over and over again. In fact, YouTube themselves have confirmed that they are giving preference to small channels. And I think they've made a really smart move. And this is because YouTube realizes that if they make it easier for small channels to be rewarded early, then these channels will be more motivated to keep creating content and grow their channels, therefore triggering a new wave of creators and channels. More content over time means more potential ways to sell ad spots, and the more ad spots, the more money YouTube makes. And therefore, ultimately, there's this interesting balancing act that YouTube has to maintain between making sure it serves itself, which is to make more money through advertisers, and encouraging more high quality content from as many channels as possible so that there's enough interesting content and in turn, keep people on the platform for as long as possible. And that's all done through this algorithm that focuses completely on matching the best content with people who are interested in that exact type of content. So that leads me to the second question. How do you take advantage of this? Even though YouTube is deliberately supporting small channels, they're not going to just pick any random channel. So to understand how you can make sure that YouTube pushes your channel, we need to understand YouTube's intention. Like I said, YouTube's biggest priority is to sell more ads. And the only way for it to sell more ads is to make sure that those ads are placed on high quality content that viewers want on YouTube. So it's about creating something that your audience fundamentally wants to see by delivering high quality content. To do that, we need to understand the concept of satisfaction. There are a lot more components around how to succeed on YouTube, like titles, thumbnails, topic ideation, scripting, and production quality. But a client asked me earlier this week that if there was one thing they should focus on, what would it be? And I told him that it would be focusing on satisfaction. So, how do we define satisfaction? Satisfaction is the fulfillment of one's wishes, expectations, or needs, or the pleasure derived from it. In the context of YouTube, that means that whatever the video promises, we need to either meet or even better, exceed those expectations. Now, we can go down the rabbit hole of how YouTube analyzes this, and I'm sure they have a ton of data points. But some basic principles to remember beyond understanding this conceptually is whether people end up binge watching more of your videos, if they've subscribed to you. Sometimes they'll survey viewers, and overall, they want to see viewers engage in your channel and videos in a way that tells them that they really like your content. So your goal is not some trick or hack to get people to stay, but it's to genuinely help deliver the highest level of satisfaction to get people to keep coming back again and again. Now, you're probably thinking, what kind of content is doing really well with this algorithm change? And how are small channels making 6 and 7 figures? And the answer to that is that they're not monetizing through brand deals, sponsorships, or ad revenue. Not that there's anything wrong with that. In other words, they're not relying on the traditional influencer or creator model of making a living. In fact, you might be surprised to hear that most creators can barely earn enough to cover a full-time salary. So instead, take a look at some of these channels. They're all, by definition, small channels, but each actually have something else to sell, whether it's a physical product or a service. These are what I call contentpreneurs, business owners who are leveraging YouTube in a way that builds their brand, reaches their exact audience, and ultimately gets people to buy from them. And the really phenomenal thing is that some of these are actually making anywhere between several hundreds of thousands to the Charlie Morgans who are making $1 million a month. And in case that wasn't enough, here are actually some of my clients. None of them are really setting the world on fire in terms of subscribers or view count, but they're all making 6 to 7 figures from YouTube directly. For example, this client runs his own accounting firm and he's got 30,000 subscribers, and his videos average between a couple of thousand views to 20 to 30,000 views each. He's generating between 60 to 80 inquiries for his accounting services every month, and more than half of them are becoming customers worth about $3,000 to them in the first year alone. So once you do the maths, you realize how ridiculous of a land grab this is. So what's the key takeaway about small channels and this algorithm update? It's that YouTube is really good at finding your exact target audience, and all you've got to focus on is making sure you're giving value to your audience in a way that satisfies them, and as a result, encourages them to potentially work with you. And because of that, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel and either running a business or looking to start, then there's never been a better time to start today. The last thing I wanted to share with you is something I tell my clients all the time, and that's that we're in a trust recession. A trust recession is when people are sick of watching overly produced and calculated videos because people are wising up. They're more sophisticated. They know that if it looks over-engineered, then it's probably not 100% true. So instead, we're now seeing people's preferences swing towards the more uncalculated and minimalist videos. Videos like Charlie Morgan or William Brown stuff, where they're either just spending 45 minutes teaching a concept that they have expertise in using a whiteboard, or guys like Simon Squibb, who are sitting down with a successful entrepreneur, and these guests are teaching him and his audience a whole bunch of things. And this is where the puck is going. And the amazing thing about all of this is that it's no longer about having a resource advantage, meaning a better production quality or a bigger team of editors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean your channel will do better. Instead, anyone can create videos with just an iPhone and absolutely crush it on YouTube now, as long as you have the expertise and depth of knowledge that your audience values. So the barriers of entry are coming down. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned on YouTube, and by extension business, it's that wealth and success is achieved during short windows of opportunity. It's when the door is slightly open and the people who are brave enough and lean towards taking action are the ones who will reap the rewards. Will that be you?